Triple Crown Fireworks in Aurora, Colorado. It's Aurora Sports Complex with our 12 fields around us. The vendor area going crazy. We got all kinds of featured games tonight. We keep peeling back the onion of this event. There's just we're never going to be done peeling, so we're going to stop trying to peel. Scott Cameron handles the rising portion of this, and in a couple of years, the 18s get talked about a lot here because it's the cream of the crop. The 16s the same way, but the younger portion of this event has really been skyrocketing, been on a fast track, and Scott Cameron directs the Sparkler Juniors portion of what happens with the Triple Crown Colorado events. So, Scott, thanks for being here, first
Pleasure.
of all.
Thank you.
And if you've noticed, we've talked to a couple of Triple Crown staff people. You don't look exhausted, like you need to take a nap.
Sure don't.
So it's it's a year-round proposition, obviously, for what you're doing here. And now you're in the thick. It's kind of harvest season right now. This is when it all happens. But the staff behind you, obviously, that's all around this thing, the field staff and even the host crews, the umpires, all that, a huge component of this. So before we get into the details of your event, what's your observation on just the moving parts of this thing and all the people who contribute?
Well, it's a well-oiled machine. We start with this thing many months in advance. As soon as we throw the last pitch of this tournament, we'll be working on next year. So we'll have a lodging component, paying for lodging from this year before we start getting lodging for next year. We'll have our umpires all in place, contracted for next year. We'll have staff that handles everything, paperwork from this side. Once you get to this stuff, once we're here, it's a well-oiled machine. There's not much that we have to do because everybody has a job, everybody knows it, and everybody's experienced in it.
So Sparkler Juniors, we've got the fireworks side, we've got the Sparkler side, but they're all, there's some commingling going on now. In a good way, it's created some real nice synergies between the events. Tell us more about Juniors and what that's all about.
Well, the Sparkler and fireworks team have to come from somewhere, right? And those teams are 12 and 14-year-old teams. And I really feel like it's the future of our, not just of this event, but of all events. If we don't capture that business early with these top teams in the nation, they won't be here come 16-18. So we've got an amazing contingent. We started this business as a peel-off, this portion of the event, as a peel-off in 2009. And it started out with about 100 teams. This year we're at 285 teams, and if we talk about the power pools, which are the best in the nation, we've got 30 of the top 50 in the nation. It is without a doubt the top 14U tournament in the country, bar none. So if we capture them then, they'll be here now. They become customers for life, and the motto is lifetime memories, and that's what we're starting early with.
Interesting wraparound even geographically because Denver, it's Aurora and Westminster that are sort of the hub points of the Sparkler and fireworks of the older age brackets. But your event geographically wraps around all that too, so you got a pretty broad spread of mileage.
Yeah, I'm at 2,000 miles for the week already. And so we started in northern Colorado, and we focused on that area where we're from, right? We're from northern Colorado, based in Fort Collins, and we've used everything up there. We've used all the lodging. We've used all the hotels and all the fields that are available to us. So this year, starting last August, I looked at Colorado Springs as a venue that we could expand into. And we couldn't decide, hey, are we going to take the 12s down there? Are we going to take the 14s? And what we did in the end was we left the 14s at some premier fields close to this in Erie. The 14 power pool. We took the majority of the tournament to the south, and we left the 12s up north, and then we put an emphasis on it. So we have all the fields we could ever want in Colorado Springs. We have all the hotels we could ever use, and we've got a willing partner who asked us to come and said, hey, be a partner with us for a long time. So I think we've got a real future in Colorado Springs. Meanwhile, we put the 12s up north, and we put a new emphasis on that because 5 years ago, the 14s were at 150 teams. Now they're at 250 and going up, and we have room to grow them. The 12s were at 20 teams 5 years ago. Last year we had 50, and we put an emphasis on it this year, and we got 85. And we called it our TCU USA National. Krista Crawford, who works for the company, travels the country running our 14, 16, and 18 TCU USA National. We thought, well, we don't have a national championship at 12, so we brought that on board, and it exploded. On top of that, another emphasis point was we're big on camps, we're big on combines, showcases, that kind of thing, and there's nothing out there for 12U. But the college coaches said, well, we want it. And hard to believe college coaches say they want it, but they're looking at 12U now. So we ran something called an early identifier camp, first of its kind, first in the nation. We just threw it up on the wall, see if it would stick. And unbelievably, it was just an amazing experience. I mean, kids came back and parents came back telling us, hey, if this is the bar for showcases, it's set awfully high. So real short, we asked every coach for their top 4 kids out of those teams. We took 240 into the combine. We had college coaches evaluate them in the morning through a 3-hour session. Out of that, we took 60 kids that were the elite, the cream of the crop, the best in the nation. We had kids at 11 and 12 years old throwing 65 miles an hour and running under 2.7 home to first. Those are 18-year-old speeds for a lot of teams. And then we put those in front of the college coaches in the evening, and we tried to attract BCS Division I level colleges. Didn't have experience or much of success there, but the kids had the great experience. And what we're trying to do is teach them how to showcase. We want them to know how to showcase so that when they get to 14, 15, 16, they're ready to say, when they shake a hand or the coach says, hey, here's what I'm looking for, they know what that is. And when they shake a hand of a coach and they make a commitment, they know what that commitment means.
So talking about, exposing him to the combine feel or start this recruiting, you just even introduce people to it. And you got to kind of stumble around, make a few mistakes as a family or a young player. And even on the tournament side with your 12-year-old level, you're probably getting some programs because I think a lot of times the 18-year-old teams who are here, they're pretty seasoned tournament teams and the whole travel dynamics and just how this all works. But you're probably working with some groups who you're having to help with some orientation effort too.
Sure.
What are some of the interesting or maybe the most important, I was going to say they're interesting things you've seen or the most important suggestions or ideas that you throw a team? If you're making the Colorado trip, here's a couple of things you have to think about.
Absolutely. So one of the things I was just talking about with Allie Morgenstern, who's one of my coworkers, is that at 16, 18, it feels like a business. This feels like a business. The fans are professional. They know what they're doing here. The coaches are professional. The teams are professional. They're used to interacting with college coaches. They're used to interacting with the field staff. They know what they're doing. In most cases at 12U, they're traveling for the first time, and they've never seen anything like this. They've never seen anything of this caliber. So the first thing I would say is put somebody in charge of your team. You don't need a coach handling everything off the field, too. There's got to be a team mom or dad capable of organizing the team into a lodging component so they'll all get to the same place at the same time. They got to talk about things like budget. How much do we want to spend on this thing, really? Or do we have $89 a night parents? Do we have $189 a night parents? How are we going to get there? What are we going to do with our off time? How are we going to spend time with each other? Are there things to do in Colorado? And there are. On our off day, do we want to play? Do we want to go up to Estes and ride horses? Do we want to get on the river up the canyon and go rafting? You got to have somebody take the lead. Let the coach take the lead on the field. Let somebody from the team take the lead off the field. And then, no matter what, make sure your kids come here with the attitude that win, lose, draw, rain, snow, lightning, that we're here to have fun and have lifetime lasting memories.
Yeah, good advice, good suggestions. Before we let you get back to the not hard work you're doing, like you said. Now it's kind of just delivering it, bringing into the runway.
I had 16-hour days for 4 weeks before this tournament. So 12 at the field every day is a walk in the park because this is where we want to be.
Yeah.
This is what
That's why
love.
You do all that. That's why
it
you
sure
can
is.
grind through those 16-hour days.
I'm in my retirement part of my life. I walked away from 15 years of USSSA adult softball and retired, and then Triple Crown came calling. And I wasn't sure about working with kids, and I found out 12 and 14-year-old kids and the game they play is a passion. I had no idea, and it's neat to find that in your last job.
Yeah, that's great. So you have a couple days, a handful of days left here. I guess we're on Thursday, so you got about 3 more days left of your activity. What's left now? I know you've gone through some sequences of the event so far, but now we're really hitting the important bracket runs, right, and the elimination rounds.
So, it's always funny. We get to Wednesday, Thursday, and we actually haven't played anything yet. We played some cross-pool games and some makeup games and a few pool games. But tomorrow is when we really start our tournament. Now that's when teams start going home, and that's when things start to matter to them. So down south, I've got 600 games. I've probably got 300 to go. We'll finish up Sunday mornings with our championships in gold, silver, and bronze for 14U Open. There's 170 teams playing there. In 12U, I've got the 80 teams up north. Same thing. They're all playing in one bracket because it's a national championship. They'll finish up Sunday morning. We'll play late tomorrow. We'll play late Saturday. And then power pools, I've got my TV game going on right now. 2 teams, Tampa Mustangs from Tampa, Florida, played their way through to that. We finished with some cross-pool games today, and then we start the heart of it tomorrow to decide who's the best in the nation at 14U. They'll finish up Sunday morning about noon also.
Oh. Full slate of exciting activity. It's all spread around Colorado. If you're in Colorado, just drop by a ball field anywhere. It'll probably be a Sparkler Fireworks game going on that field.
Sparkler Junior.
That's Scott Cameron, the director of Sparkler Juniors with Triple Crown Sports. Thanks for the time, Scott.
Thanks.